I'm Vinny Politan. Great to see everyone. I am snowed in Atlanta outside of my normal place. I am at a remote location somewhere in the ATL. The snow is covering the ground. The city is shut down. It is cold, but the Tangent podcast must go on. I'm Vinny Politan along with Al Wunsch and the radio legend Jonesy. And today we're going to talk about the Kentucky sheriff who on video with a weapon took out the local sitting Judge Mullins. Took him out on video. So he's pleaded not guilty. There's going to be a trial. But what is that trial going to look like? That's what we're going to talk about today. Welcome to the Tangent Podcast.
Vinny and the Tangents, true crime podcast. Vinny has the blue eyes, Al cracks the jokes. Jonesy stays behind his shades, entertaining all the folks. It's Vinny and the Tangents, true crime podcast. Load up all your comments, hit those super chats. Let's go smash that like button, so we can all have a blast. Vinny, Al, and Jonesy on the job. They're the Sugar Hill gang of true crime. They're telling stories of days gone by. They take crime and turn into a good old time. It's Vinny and the Tangents, true crime podcast.
Here we go. It's the True Crime Podcast, The Tangents, Vinny, Allen, Jonesy. Great to see everyone. Snowing down here, guys. What's going on up north? Is it you getting the wintry weather?
It's cold. It's cold. We got snow earlier just a dusting for me. I think it was a lot worse down by Jonesy, but
actually, it wasn't too bad here either. But the winds have been howling,
yes,
especially up your way.
The winds have been very, very fierce.
But that's said, Al. Did you see the video that Vinny sent out of somebody trying to pull into the parking lot at the hotel? There's hardly a dusting on the ground, and this guy stops and examines the situation for a few minutes and then backs up.
No, he doesn't back up.
Jersey.
He's sliding down on the ice.
Was he?
I will tell you this, that one of the most interesting things in the world is to come from New Jersey and to go to school in Washington, D.C. and watch them maneuver in like a dusting of snow.
Even
it is the most frightening thing in the world. They don't know how to drive in the snow. And that's the whole problem. I mean, and that gentleman that was coming down the hill is a perfect example of that. Because, if you're from around here, you know how to maneuver.
You could have just slid right down that hill. There were nothing in your way.
Get your flexible flyer going. That's what I do. Yeah. You get the flexible flyer.
I remember a few years back, Vinny telling me that he couldn't go someplace or another. You said it was because the airports were closed, and it had a dusting there. But the way you explained it is that they don't have the equipment we have because it's not worth investing.
They don't have the de-icers.
This is the first time it's really snowed in 7-8 years. So, we're trying to prepare for. I'm trying to find that video to show the folks at home. I may be able to get it here. Give me just a second. Let me see if I have it.
Other than that, hola, Tangenistas. Hope everything is well with you all people. And our hearts and sympathies go out to the poor people in California that are dealing with these horrific fires. It's just devastating, and it's so sad to see. And, our prayers are with you all.
Absolutely. Yeah. We're getting weather on all ends. And people may not recognize where I am. I'm actually in my Court TV office. So I was originally going to take you guys for a tour, but I have to use my phone as my camera today, so I can't walk around. Maybe I could walk around, but you can see over here is the Wall of Fame. That's where I have all the big verdicts, all the big verdicts I covered in the back there. And here I've got an award, a trophy.
Oh, nice.
That's nice,
What's it
right?
for?
An Obi?
What is it
It was
for?
for our coverage of the Derek Chauvin case, the Give Light Award, and I can literally bang a gavel today. How about that?
Hang a
Wow,
gong.
nice.
There you
Get it
go. So
on.
I just
that's
want to see if
the
you have any of the framables that I sent you, like hanging anywhere, like the old Court
yes,
TV
I
logo and
do.
stuff like that.
I do, but I just switched offices. I've got three things getting ready to get hung up, including my
Oh,
diploma from Stanford University. You may have heard of it.
That's school in Connecticut, right?
Yes, Leland Stanford Junior University.
You know, it's
It,
very, what's nice about that school, Vin, if I remember correctly, it was correspondence courses for you. And I remember how you used to tell me how he used to get upset when the UPS truck would drive by because it would meant it was a pop quiz for one of your classes. So,
so that's where we are, and so this case involving the sheriff is it's on video. So the way I look at it, and I think when you talk about a trial, like every trial is about something, right? You
right.
know, yeah, it's about guilty, not guilty in a criminal case, but there's always like that what it's really about, right? Right. So I'm looking at this, and there's a couple of possibilities when you look at the trial of Sheriff Mickey Steins for taking out the judge on video in his chambers. So, on the one hand, mental disease or defect, that he had a delusional break from reality and thought the judge was part of some conspiracy that was trying to go after him and his family. And he was trying to protect his family by taking out the judge. That's one way it can go. Um, Another way it could go is that they're looking for something a little less, like a passion, provocation type of situation where he finds something out when he's there with the judge and cannot control his impulse to take out the judge. He's still guilty of a homicide, but something less than red rum that he's been charged with, right? That's another way it can go. There's another way it can go, and people are actually talking about this, which is jury nullification, that the judge was dirty. The judge was up to something no good. The judge was running his chambers like a brothel. The judge was abusing all these inmates, these women, and was taking part in this whole systematic abuse of the female inmates. And what happened was the sheriff ended up getting caught up in a lawsuit about it, and it looked like he was going to take the brunt of it, but he had nothing to do with it. And it was the judge that was doing it. And he was angry, and they're going to bring out all this stuff about the judge. And at the end of the day, the jury's going to say, well, maybe he deserved it, that kind of deal. Those are the three scenarios that I see potentially playing out. Thoughts?
Well, you can't, jury nullification is not allowed anyway. So, I mean, you can't, I mean, you may try to infer that, but the court is going to shut that down real quick. So that ain't happening.
Well, wait. Before you say that ain't happening,
it does
like you
happen,
can't
though, right?
argue for it, but a jury can do whatever a jury wants.
Yeah,
So
except that
if the folks in Eastern Kentucky believe this man needed a killing,
it,
then maybe this man needed a killing. I'm not saying he did. I'm saying they can come to that conclusion.
yeah, except that the problem is if the jury instructions come down, which they will be, set forth with as to what the jury is allowed to do pursuant to the law, he's not getting off on jury
Trying to make
nullification.
it through the
There we
ice.
go. And here's Franz Klammer coming down the hill.
He's going up the hill.
That.
The thrill of victory
Almost.
going up the hill,
Almost.
and the
Come
agony
on.
of
Pin
defeat.
it. Pin it.
I'm telling him to just pin the gas. Just go.
Yeah, first mistake.
Uh-oh. I lost power.
Oh, good attempt.
We need more power.
I got no more power,
Never
Captain.
give up. Never.
Look at him.
ever.
What's he gonna do? Go home and not get to his destination? He just drive right on down that hill.
He just kept trying. He kept trying and trying and trying.
Ah.
Trying to make it through the ice.
This is the slow-mo instant replay. But this is the amount
Look at that.
of snow that it
Almost.
takes to shut down
Almost.
Atlanta. Nothing is
Come on.
opened.
Pin it. Pin it.
Nothing is open, folks.
He
This
needs
is
to
all it
travel
takes
with a
down here.
bullhorn.
Oh, good attempt.
It's remarkable.
Remarkable.
He's got front wheel drive too, I believe.
Never give up.
Can't
Never,
make it.
ever.
Well, Al, you think you could have gotten up that hill with front wheel drive in that car?
Yeah,
See,
no doubt.
it's an illusion on the camera because, like Al, I thought it was downhill.
Yeah, no, it's a slight uphill. It's a slight uphill.
Well, that makes it even safer. Downhill, you know,
Yeah.
is a little.
You see,
little
if
bit
I
more
could use
dangerous.
this phone, I could go run outside. I could run up that hill.
Running up
What are you,
the
what are you,
hill.
Kate Bush?
I was just saying, that's why I sang that.
All right.
So, you know,
you're poo-pooing jury nullification now.
I poo-poo the
Well,
jury
let me ask
nullification.
Jonesy, though. Jonesy, if you're sitting on a jury and there's a case where the victim is someone who was doing something horrific, would you even consider not following the letter of the law, but doing what you feel in your gut? Well, he had it coming.
I don't think I would. Because you know, before you get to the stage of red rum, there are other paths that you can take. However, in spite of the fact that you know the judge is going to say no, you can't do this, you can do that. It does happen. I mean, like juries do like come up with
Crazy
verdicts
things.
that we question, and it's because of you know, some character is sympathetic or there's some backstory. You know, for example, like violence in New York City, someone takes out like a mugger or something like that. You know, there are situations where the jury comes back and you scratch your head and say, like, but, you know, the dude was guilty.
That's self-defense, though, Jonesy. That's self-defense. It's a little different, okay, than when you walk into a chambers and you unholster a sidearm and you fire into someone who's sitting in a chair.
But it does
self-defense.
happen. I mean, there weren't there some that said that was it OJ that some said was jury nullification?
No, the OJ situation was a little bit different than a jury nullification.
But it does happen.
It sort of was in a certain sense, though, because it was a reaction to Rodney King. It was a reaction to Mark Furman.
LAPD.
So I think you could argue that, Jonesy. I think
the argument was that he was set up, and so that was a defense. You know, so that's a valid defense. That's not a valid defense in a case where the guy walks in, they're having a conversation, he takes a phone, he calls his daughter, he puts his phone down, he uses the judge's phone, and she answers the phone, and then next thing you know, his sidearm is unsheathed.
I don't know if she answered, though. I don't think she answered either call.
I don't think she did.
I thought on the judge's call she answered. That's what I was the impression.
Yeah, it's not 100% clear, but from that preliminary, it seemed like she did not answer. What was interesting, though, during the course of the attack, you see the judge's phone start to light up. Someone's calling him. So it could have been her calling back. I'm not sure. Sure.
I do think that jury nullification does indeed happen at times. I may not give the best example of it, but it does happen. Let me say this about the graphic, though. The look on the judge, not to besmirch his memory or anything like that, but the look on the judge, it almost looks like a sitcom. You know, he has that like wry smile kind of thing, like he just like, you know, made the audience crack up. I you know, like some people see a Lifetime TV movie and things like this. I see a sitcom.
So let me play for you because there is some dirt on the judge, potential dirt, and then you have to take it for what it's worth. One of the female inmates was interviewed about this and said that the judge had done some things, not to her, but I think she said she witnessed it. Let's take a listen.
But he does have some videotapes of some stuff in the judge's chambers.
What kind of stuff?
Just with girls, sexual and stuff.
What describe? Have you seen the videos?
I've seen one partly, and you know, just him having sex with girls for to be able to get out of jail.
Who was having sex?
Ben and just some higher ups up there.
Who?
The judge and.
Now you saw the video.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What did you see on the video? I mean, you.
I mean, I've seen Judge Walton have sex with a girl.
Who was the girl?
I don't know, because I don't know a lot of people from over there.
Where was it at?
In his office, in the judge's chambers.
Is that the same place that you were meeting Ben? Is that how you know it was a judge's chambers? And this was Judge who?
Mullins.
So that exists.
But you
Right?
saw the video
I saw
of.
the video.
So that actually exists, right? Someone saying that. Now that's the video. No one has seen the video. I don't know where this video is. She doesn't know who the female inmate was. There was some vague parts of it, so you take it for what it's worth. But she was the actual victim of this sheriff's deputy, who was the judge's bailiff, and was, sex extorted. Right? You want, you want to stay out on bond? You want to stay out on the bracelet program? Well, here's what you have to do. So, and he's pleaded guilty, that deputy. He got locked up for that. The judge was implicated in this statement, but was our understanding was never charged, because this goes back a couple of years.
Right.
This
There's a
goes back
civil
a couple of
suit.
years.
Right. There's a civil suit that's pending or that's in the middle of that maybe the judge will be brought in under that. Well, would have been brought in under that.
Maybe, but he wasn't. But
I mean,
Sheriff
it's
Mickey
hard to be.
Steins was. So that's
Well,
how I
but-
get to
but
this
he-
conflict here, that you've got one of the victims implicating the judge. The judge never gets charged criminally, never gets sanctioned. He's still sitting on the bench. I think it's 2 years later. But Mickey Steins, the sheriff, who wasn't implicated by this woman, is the one who gets sued.
Well, okay. Well, first, I do think she does implicate him later on.
She does in the second one?
Right. So,
Yeah, I think you're right.
but the situation with regards to the civil suit, Steins is in it because he's the sheriff, and you have to sue, the sheriff, because the allegation, if I'm not mistaken, was that there was improper training and that there was improper supervision of his deputies, and that's why this guy was able to, have the.
So how do you bring that? How would you have brought the judge in? How would the judge be brought in? I mean, it's his chambers.
But see,
it's his
the
deputy.
judge's chambers are being used, but the judge himself was not implicated. There was nothing I saw with regards to the civil suit that the judge was sitting there watching. They said that they were using the judge's chambers, which I can't for the life of me believe how that would happen. But nonetheless,
It did.
that's what the allegation is. And it did probably happen. But I mean, that's just because there's cameras in
Well,
the
I think
judge.
it happened beyond a reasonable doubt. The guy's in jail. That's
Right, no, there's no doubt. There's no doubt that it happened there. I'm just saying, having been in enough judges' chambers in my life, that to have someone having sex with somebody in a judge's chambers is just unbelievable to me.
So what does it do
I
to the
can't
jury
imagine.
if this comes out? Do you think this becomes, because we're talking about today what the trial is going to look like, and I've got to think the defense of Sheriff Mickey Steins, whatever it is, will attempt to include evidence like this.
Yeah, well, there's no doubt that the judge might have been a complete scumbag of the world. There's no doubt that there's a possibility that is all true. Okay, it doesn't give you the right to execute him.
No.
And that's where the problem comes, and that's why jury nullification is not going to work in this case. There's no allegation that and there's no way you're going to be able to demonstrate that, I saw the judge go to his side desk, open it, and I know he keeps a revolver there, so that's why
there's no self-defense here. It's
Right, there's no
about what was
self-defense.
going on. It was
So there's
about
no-
this entire scandal. Like,
So
take a listen. I want you to take a listen to his attorney. This is the sheriff's attorney.
This is connected to the federal lawsuit he was a part of. Is there any connection between these?
I think that the timing of what occurred is certainly something that is going to be a crucial point in this case. The timing of the deposition, amongst other things and other background information that will complete that story. But I do, yes, to answer your question, I do believe that is a piece. This is a large story. That's a story that in some ways is difficult to tell. We look forward to sharing a more complete version of that as we go through this judicial process.
Do you know whether this is connected to the federal law.
By the way, he looks like the comedian Nate Bargatze.
Yeah, he
Right?
does.
He moves
does.
around a
Just like-
lot. He's like rocking back and forth.
Yeah, he looks just like the comedian. So bigger story. So that story is going to, I would presume, include what was happening in the chambers, right?
Okay, so what? I mean,
So what does the trial look like? That's what we're trying to explain to the people.
the trial is going to be him trying to get off on some form of mental disease or defect. Okay, they'll take the death penalty, they'll take the D-pen off, and then he'll end up pleading, and he'll end up probably doing life without parole. So, I mean, that's what's going to end up happening in this case. They've set it up. The interesting thing about this is that, the deposition got this guy all unhinged. Well, they're out to lunch. It didn't seem like anyone was unhinged at that point in time.
Yeah, I beg to differ.
They make one comment. They said, well, maybe we should talk about this in chambers.
Right.
Okay.
So something's so there is something happening at that lunch. Now there's other people there. It's not just the sheriff and the judge who were at lunch prior to this happening. And I think the judge is the one who said, is this something we should, discuss privately? And then the judge goes back, the sheriff goes back, and then a couple hours later is when the sheriff then goes to the judge's chambers. The judge, I believe, is in doing another case or matter with some other people. Those people leave, the sheriff goes in there, closes the door, and that's when this so-called private meeting takes place. And to me, there was something going on. There was something going on at lunch. I think a big question that needs to be answered is what happens between the lunch and this private meeting that results in the judge being taken out? Like, where is the sheriff in that time? What is he doing? Who is he talking to? Because that seemed to perhaps stir him up. I don't know why he's calling his daughter or trying to get in touch with his daughter. I don't know if that's a red herring or if that's legit. I mean, it's the pieces don't fit together well in one way. Like,
Well,
you can take part of the pieces.
Isn't the calling of the daughter something you do before you do something that's going to change your life drastically and probably ruin it forever? Like, you call a loved one and say, like, hey, I love you no matter what happens.
Well, the interesting thing is the day before, he had a domestic dispute with his wife, and he wasn't even, and he picked up and he left the house. And that's why they said he wasn't in uniform. He was in civilian clothes because he didn't go home after the fight that he was having with his wife or with someone in the household. I mean, that's
but there's also been dispute on that. Like, well, maybe because the way it's being interpreted, some people were like they were separated, right? So we're not saying they were separated because I think his attorney said no, they were not separated. He was still living at home, but there may have been a little flare up, right? So, and that could be part of this bigger picture that there's several things happening at once, which plays right into what Al is saying, right? And that part is consistent. I think the only way all these factors make sense is if something's not making sense to the sheriff, right? There's if he's mentally off, that's why we are trying to put the pieces together to make them fit like this. But if someone is actually suffering from a delusional mental breakdown or some sort of mental break, then things aren't going to fit like that, right? There's going to be things that he does or says that don't necessarily make sense.
Okay, and that's where the conversation with the police officers comes in as he's being driven to a prison that's an hour and a half away or something like that from where this incident occurred, and you hear him like exceedingly paranoid that he thinks he's going to be taken to the woods and executed or something along those lines. He's complaining about the fact that the handcuffs are too tight. They handcuffed it behind him, behind his back, which he was saying was too tight. Come on now, you got to, help me out. He's complaining about the fact that there wasn't enough air in the back seat. It was hot. And then he starts going off on this thing. You're not going the right way. You're not going. You can hear it in his voice that he's obviously, not thinking very clearly. A guy his size, ordinarily you would not handcuff a guy that big with one set of handcuffs because of the fact precisely what he was complaining about. It's going to be exceedingly tight and difficult for him. They usually would put two pair together. And, so that gives him at least a little more comfort, but he's obviously restrained. And they didn't do that in this case. And he's asking them to help him out. But the stuff about him going, you're taking me to the woods, or we're going, this is not where the jail is. And, this paranoia is where I think this is where the case is going to be focused on. He's obviously not thinking clearly. And he's obviously ranting about some situation where he thinks he's going to be next on the execution list. So that's where I think they're going to go.
I think you're right on, Al. And what's unique about this case is the dash cam audio, body cam video of him extremely close to the time of the offense, right? In most mental disease and defect cases, it's a forensic psychiatrist who's trying to take the jury back in time and trying to explain this break from reality, this delusion. This jury will get to see and hear it, right? They'll see the actual what he did, but then they will see and hear him almost immediately afterwards when he surrenders himself and is taken into custody. That makes this very unique and will give the jury a much clearer picture. So it's not like you're trying to sell them something. You're saying, look and listen to him. This is immediately afterwards. So I think it becomes much more viable in a sense if an expert is saying that he's suffering from some mental break, if the jury gets to actually see and hear it themselves.
And I think what helps the case for him, from his standpoint, is the fact that these are the guys he works with. Like, this isn't another police force that's grabbing him, that he has no idea who these guys are and he has no reason to trust them or anything along that pathway. These are his brothers. These are his brothers and sisters, and these are the guys that and gals that he led in this department, and he's not sure that they're going to do the right thing by him. He's concerned that maybe he's going to end up in a ditch somewhere, which is interesting thought that, about taking people to the woods. I wonder how many times that's happened in that department, that's why he would have that kind of paranoia that, you're taking me to the woods. So whatever, we'll find out where that comes down the line. But he's not.
Important comment from Gen X to the seventh, one of our mods. Vinny would look good in a light blue suit like that. Do you agree, Jonesy?
I think anybody would look good in a light blue suit like that, but I think I know where she's going with the eyes.
There you go. And by the way, Gen X, one of our great moderators on the program.
Order in the chat. Order in the chat. Don't dare attack. We've got order in this chat. The Mod Squad is on the job, helping us to keep it clean. The Mod Squad is on the job, always so nice and never mean. So let's give it up and say hello to the three amazing ladies running the show. Gen X, let's make some noise. Frankie Figs, let's clap our hands. And Jennifer Sue Bay, let's raise the roof. Order in the chat. Order in the chat. Don't dare attack. We've got order in this chat.
Gen X, Frankie Figs, Jennifer Sube, and of course Ashley Bouchard on Facebook, our Mod Squad. Keeping law and order where it needs to be kept in that chat. Gets kind of crazy sometimes in there.
And if you don't mind, I just like to send a birthday wish, happy birthday wish out to Joseph Lyle Menendez, who is turned 56 today.
That's the beauty of this whole case being looked at again is, they are relatively young as far as if they get a release, they've got a life ahead of them.
And also just for the purposes of sadness, one of your favorites, Vin, Robert Durst died on this day in 2022.
Mm. Well, I don't know if this was jury nullification or what it was in the trial where um, the victim ended up headless, and Durst admitted to it, but he did claim self-defense.
Yes, he
So,
did claim self-defense in that, so it's a little bit
right,
different.
right. And the jury bought it, and he was found not guilty, by the way.
So these are
Crazy, crazy
this
story.
is the situations on today, on this day in history as we go forward.
Oh,
Oh,
when
what?
on this day in history,
What? Wait.
now, because of our situation here, that did not, I don't think that loaded. So we're not going to be able to hear your favorite song, Al.
Oh, darn. Do the last song. I always like that one. I like the Bauhaus sound to it, that goth
Oh,
feel.
people have to stay the whole show to hear
Oh,
that
all
at
right.
the end.
Okay, all right.
You
All right.
know,
So
we got
then
to
on this
dangle,
day,
we dangle that candy. We dangle that candy.
on this day, okay, January 10th, 1776, Thomas Paine publishes Common Sense. Okay, Common Sense is the 47-page pamphlet that basically gave the arguments why the United States, why the America needed to break away from England, and why we were able to galvanize the residents of this fair area, these wonderful colonies, to get them to fight against the British. Paine was born in the United Kingdom. He came to America in 1774 with the help of Ben Franklin. What's interesting is that he received no money for Common Sense. And if you take a look at it from the standpoint of how many people had this pamphlet compared to today, okay, 16 million people would have had this pamphlet. And
He was
received,
viral.
it was over the entire world, okay, and he received nothing on it. Sad part is that Thomas Paine basically dies unknown. He wanted to be buried up in New Rochelle, which is also the home of the Petrie family, for those of you that remember the old Dick Van Dyke show.
Mhm.
And the Quakers wouldn't let him be buried in their cemetery there. They refused. He had to be buried in a farm up there. And then 10 years after that, his body is disinterred, brought to England, where they're going to put it in a nice, formal, beautiful memorial to him. And they couldn't raise the money, so it stayed in some guy's attic. And now we don't know where any of the bones are of Thomas Paine. So poor
Wow.
Thomas Paine has no
That's a
burial.
painful end.
Yeah.
Question, Jonesy, Madonna Rutledge, is Vinny's tongue swollen?
Let me stick out your tongue and say ah. Nah.
Then
Nah,
I'll do
Could be-
this.
It could be the camera, right? Because I'm using the phone camera, so it could distort things if I get real
3D
close.
House of Tongues.
Ben, I'll tell you what, turn your head and cough. I'll do that test for you.
Just take 2 aspirin and call me in the morning. Hey, Al, I have to dispute something about Thomas Paine. It was the
Yes.
Petries, not the Petries.
Oh, the Petries, you're right. I'm sorry. That's right. It was Rob Petrie. Okay.
I know a Facebook friend who uses the name Thomas Paine, and now I've figured out why.
Wait a minute. Now people are talking about me having some dental work done.
What?
I don't know. It must be the angle of the camera.
Just remember,
So-
Vin, be true to your teeth or they'll be false to you.
Let me see. Is it better if is this less
If you
swollen
need
now?
a good dentist, I know this elf. I know an elf that
David
can
Kirby?
take care of your teeth.
All right. I'm going to fix the
Yes.
camera because I'm like what I'm going to do? I'm going to raise the camera a little bit.
Why don't you just
Okay.
keep your tongue in your mouth and not show your teeth?
Well,
Right
is that
there.
a better angle now?
Right.
My tongue not swollen now, people?
Stick
that
out
better?
your tongue. Stick out your tongue. See, he'll do anything we tell him. This is excellent. Now bark like a dog.
Throw out your hands. Stick out your tush.
Put
Hands
your
on
hands in the air.
Give them a push. Don't be surprised. We're doing the French mistake. Voila. All right, Ben.
Taking a retainer. I'm wearing a retainer, I guess. This is the whole thing here. I'm trying to. I don't know what happened.
Dun, 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 dun.
I wonder if that Jane is my Jane.
Dun, 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 dun.
All right, I'm going to go over to the true crime today of history, a very tragic story that takes place in Indiana. I saw early on some people, a person signed on from Indiana saying, was there anyone else from Indiana? And coincidentally, we're doing a story about a very, very sad event that occurred back in 1992, which was the torture, essayed, and burned to death of Shanda Renee Sharer, Sharer, 12 years old. She was red run by 4 teenage girls between the ages of 15 and 17.
Right.
The perpetrators were Melinda Loveless. This is an individual who was the daughter of a Vietnam vet, who was a described sexual deviant who would wear his wife and daughter's underwear and makeup and encourage wife to have relations with other men and women so that he could watch. This was her father. Lori Tackett claims that she had been previously abused and that she was possessed by Deanna the vampire, and began cutting at a very early age. Hope Rippey, who was began cutting when she was 15, and Tony Lawrence, abused by a relative at 9, essayed by a teenage boy at 14, and attempted suicide in the 8th grade. These 4 wonder kids were not happy with poor Shanda. She apparently had started 12 years old, and she started dating the girlfriend of Melinda Loveless. And subsequently, Melinda Loveless said, we're going to have to scare her. And that ended up being a little more than a scare. They picked her up. They put her in the trunk. They stabbed her with a knife. And she survived. Then they kept her in the trunk, and they proceeded to beat her with a tire iron and then essayed her with a tire iron.
Oh.
And apparently she still survived. Finally, they went back to Tackett's house to figure out what they want to do. The mother offered them breakfast. They said no. They went to a gas station, got a Pepsi bottle, and filled it with gasoline, and then took her to an open field and burned her alive. Okay.
How old were they?
They were between 15 and 17.
Wow.
So they a horrific
That's a feel-good story.
for this 12-year-old girl. But this is the part that I know, Vinny, you always get very happy about. They were tried as adults. Tackett and Loveless got 60 years, but Tackett was released in January of 2018 on the 26th anniversary of Shandra's Red Rum.
Unbelievable.
Loveless got out in September of 2019 after serving 27 years. Rippey got 60 years with 10 years suspended due to mitigating circumstances. She got out in April of 2006 after 14 years. And Lawrence cooperated and got a max 20 and got out in 2000 after 9 years.
So they all get, it's like this, we were covering the Slender Man case.
Yep.
Yesterday, and they're both out. And those were cases where they were institutionalized. They weren't in prison, but they get out. It's kids get away with it. You know,
I mean, it was horrible. I mean, what a horrific end for a 12-year-old girl.
Oh,
at
age 15, you know what you're doing. You know what you're like. You understand what you're doing. Like, if they need, I don't think those people are going to get better. I think they end up back in the system.
This is the interesting part. Okay, now, tragically, the young lady, the victim, okay, her father never recovered. Okay, so Shanda, that old man, became a alcoholic, drank himself to death. The mother wanted to try to do something good in memory of her daughter, and she started a scholarship fund. But she also found out that Loveless, who is now out, is training caregiver dogs and she donates every year a dog to Loveless in the name of
Wow.
Shanda
Wow.
to see if so that she can try to get her to, do some good out of
Good.
all
Yeah.
of us.
That's
So
amazing.
it's an amazing story, an amazing. Obviously, this woman, the mother, is an amazing individual to want to do that, and she donates a dog every year to Loveless that she can train so that dog can help people, and the dog is always going to be named Shanda.
Shanda.
So that's our true crime history for today. That
And
is
by
our.
the way, Marissa J wanted the song. She missed the song today.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Maybe next week I play it twice.
Oh, yes, that'll annoy everybody. That's good. But
Indeed.
so now we go back to Kentucky, and Vinny, and with regards to Kentucky, Kentucky is a very interesting state, and I bring this up because of the fact that in the Civil War, Kentucky was actually um, a neutral state. It didn't side with the South. It didn't side with the North. Originally, it did then become part of the Union during the Civil War, and that there was a group called the Orphan Brigade, which was a group of Kentucky individuals who ended up fighting for the Confederacy. And their leader was John C. Breckinridge. And John C. Breckinridge is very interesting from the standpoint that he was actually the 14th vice president of the United States under James Buchanan. And yet he fought for the Confederacy and led the
That's interesting.
led the Orphan
I
Brigade.
thought you weren't allowed to be if you were on the other side.
Well, he's the 14th. Buchanan was no longer the president. Buchanan was the 15th president. Then Lincoln was sworn in. So he was, and Breckinridge ran for the presidency of the United States in the
Before the
election of
Civil War.
1860. Right. He
Oh, I
ran
got you.
he ran in the election of 1860 and did not
Gotcha.
win.
Gotcha.
So John C. Breckinridge, vice president of the United States, fighting for the Confederates from Kentucky, home of the Orphan Brigade. Thank you.
Yeah. By the way, today, if you notice because I have the camera over here, I have to almost do kind of like an old school news anchor pose where you kind of give them that one shoulder. You're not squared up to the camera. You give them the one. Thanks, Lou.
I've noticed
I like
that.
that.
I
I like
wasn't
that.
aware as to why.
What's that?
I noticed that. I just wasn't as aware as to why you were doing that.
Yeah, because that camera's here and I've got to control everything over here.
Ah,
And I got
you need a bigger
the comments
desk.
over here.
Did they
What's
give you
that?
you need a bigger desk, and I'll negotiate and get you a corner window.
No, I have a big office and a big desk. I have the biggest office in the.
You don't have a corner window. I had a corner window in my at Court TV in my studio, but it was the wrong corner. Instead of 39th,
Which corner was it?
Instead of 39th and 3rd, it was the corner that flanked up against an apartment building. But I was able
It's
to.
even better. There's more fun.
I have a great view. Here, let me. I'm going to show you my view. Let me see. I'm going to. This is going to be a risky maneuver, but I'm going to do it.
Oh, I see. It's a view of your palm.
Yeah.
Oh, palm trees.
It's going to be a little risky, but I'm going to take you.
Palm.
Yeah. There you go. And my nose is big too.
Ah, cha-cha-cha-cha. I wonder why you liked
Jimmy
Frosty.
Durante.
That's right.
Frosty the
What's that
Snowman.
banana doing on your nose? That's not a banana. That's my nose.
Look
Ah,
at that.
cha-cha-cha-cha.
Here we go. All right. So let me just show you what's happening outside, guys. Can you see?
Well, the weather
Yeah.
outside is frightening.
There
Oh,
goes
my
the
stars.
5-0.
My stars, you're on the ground floor. Somebody could just climb in there and have their way with you.
Yeah.
No, they got a pretty cracked security staff. Believe me, I've been in that building and I was like strip searched 4 times.
Yeah.
Oh,
And you can't get near Vinny's office. It's like set off with like all these velvet ropes and stuff like that.
Exactly. And then over here, I'll show you some of the
Let's
great
see.
moments in history.
nice.
Very nice.
Not guilty.
Not guilty. So there's a couple of not guilties. This is Casey Anthony over here. Let's see. Then we got guilty over here. This is Jody Arias. This would be
Did we lose him now?
No, I'm assuming yes. It's either that or it's a power outage due to the snow.
Well, sometimes
So-
it's me. That's why I asked. Sometimes I get pixelations and such. I wonder if he realizes that we lost him.
Well, he's so caught up on taking a look at those pictures.
Now is the Court TV a building, a one-story building?
No, it's not. It's not a one-story building. And I believe that they when you come down to Court TV and when you're on in studio, there's a right across the street is a hotel that they set you up at, and then you walk right across the street to the building where the headquarters are.
Well, we were on 39th and 3rd in Manhattan
Yes.
at Court TV, and I'd imagine we had a lot more dining options for lunch and such.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, actually, in the little square where that hotel is, there's actually like 2 or 3 little restaurants in there, which aren't too bad. And that hotel actually has a decent breakfast in the morning.
all right. I'm back.
Hey, thanks
you
for,
have a-
thanks for joining
Did you have a
us.
decent breakfast?
I did not have the breakfast. No. Not doing the breakfast. Not gonna do it. Not
Now,
gonna do it.
Manny, with your experience living in New Jersey, could you have driven in instead of staying there?
No. There was nobody on the highways. No. At this point, I think.
Wait, can I just say one thing? A couple of those pictures, you look like a very young Doug McClure.
So
And for you at home that don't know who he is, Google it, okay?
Google it. So the roads, the side roads, they don't do anything to. You just
Right.
wait for it to
What to
melt.
do?
You wait
Are
for
they
it to
even
melt.
plows? Do they
The
even have-
highways, there'll be plows and salt, but they actually shut down one of the highways at 9:00 this morning. So I don't know when they're reopening. So no, it would have been a real challenge to get here. Let's get to some more comments. Charles Land on Facebook. The judge had sheriff's underage daughter's phone number. I don't think he did. I think that was misinterpreted from that preliminary hearing, and I believe he just manually called it from the judge's phone. But the way it was described in court made you think that he did, but I don't believe he actually did. Kevin Todd, talk about the case. Jeez. That's my favorite comment always.
Kev, while you're there, grab your little Funkin' Wagnalls. Okay, grab it. Open up to the TA, and look up the word tangent. Okay? For those of
used
you
to have
learning the word tangent. And if you take a look at what the definition of the word tangent is, you'll understand this show. Thank you.
We used to have the Britannicas, but we didn't have the a tea edition, and that's because we got them free or for 99 cents at A&P. And each week you got a different edition. We never quite made it up to the T's.
So your knowledge ends with the S.
Yes, all of my knowledge comes from sitcoms and the A&P. You know, the A&P, I was fascinated as a kid. The A&P supermarkets would have this coffee grinder at the end of the checkout counter. And if you bought the beans, they'd grind them right in front of you. I was fascinated by that.
Yeah.
And that's
Smelled
called Starbucks.
too. So Billy Moore, what's up, Vinny? The man. Enjoy your show, man. All right.
Hey, man, take a walk on the wild side.
Hey, man, come on, leave me alone, you know. Hey, man, I got to get off the phone. Hey, man, got to speak with my
Okay.
face.
Shannon again says Vinny is shape shifting. Call Mulder and Scully.
Oh, the shapeshifter. That was a good character on the show. He started out as an FBI agent, Kryger, I believe. Oh, he could turn. He once turned into Mulder, and tricked Scully into thinking that he was Mulder, and he wanted a little action, you know.
Okay,
Well,
we've gotten to the bottom of this. It sounds as though you've been to the dentist. So that would be the microphone on my phone because I'm not in my normal studio.
As a
no.
broadcaster, gentlemen, never have dental work later in your life. I could always tell DJs got some like false implants and stuff on the air because they start talking differently than they used to when they were younger. Some of my
Let's count down the top 5 this week. Jonesy, what do we
yeah,
got at number 5?
yeah, exactly, and you could hear the difference if you're a student of the craft.
Especially if you get the big choppers.
What
Right.
now? Wait, what was the one from Mulder and Sully? A shapeshifter?
Yeah, Kryger, I believe.
Okay,
They're
because
saying
I
I sound
like
like Mike Tyson.
I liked in Batman False Face.
False Face. Yeah, he wasn't in a lot of episodes. Who was he played
Yeah,
by
but
again?
well, you know what's interesting on that? If you take a look at the thing, they say special guest villain, and they put
Yes.
a question mark. Okay,
Oh,
for False Face. Hello, it was Malachi Throne was the name of the actor that portrayed False Face.
are we supposed to know him?
I've met him actually, believe it or not.
Uh-huh. So why did he not get a credit? Wouldn't he want
Well,
a credit?
that was he was False Face. I mean, really, what
Yeah,
happened
yeah,
was,
yeah.
if you remember, he had that plastic face in front of
Yeah,
him, but he
that's
was
cool.
like, he was Commissioner Gordon. He was, what you call
Right.
it, Chief O'Hara. He was even Batman, so he could be any
Oh, I
character
see.
he wanted to be.
I
So
see.
they would
You
always
know,
put a question mark.
in
All
the
right,
first
guys,
season,
I'm going to switch microphones because people are saying like I sound like Mike Tyson. Bebo Mora says, Vinny, your voice sounds like your mouth is swollen. It's the first thing I said so I'm gonna try something here. Tell me if you can hear me.
Tommy, can you hear me? Can you see me near
we cannot hear
you?
you. And I'll
I
take
can't
a
hear
moment to
you.
tell you about Mr. Ed. Mr. Ed's actor was a cowboy actor from the silent days and the early television, and he refused to have a credit of playing a horse. When he saw how popular it was, he wanted a credit, but they said, no, we can't
Was it
change it
Randolph
from
Scott?
Mr. Ed as himself. I don't know. But Mr. Ed portrayed himself, and that would ruin it for kids if they put a credit on.
That was
Vinny,
nice.
are you with us?
I'm
There you
back
are.
with you. People, is your sugar okay? Sounds like you're slurring or your tongue is swollen.
Oh my God!
During the Guinness World Record, the listeners pointed out that I sounded that way after the 70th hour, and everyone thought I had dental problems, and they were concerned. Actually, what it was my tongue had swollen from not hydrating enough during the course of the 100-hour and 42-second broadcast that set a Guinness World Record. But enough about me.
Well,
Enough about you. All right. Gen X says I sound fine. We could have some people in there that are busting chops.
Ooh,
The old
Chop
chops busters.
yes,
That's
I know
what could be
well.
happening. Although people are saying it sounds like I'm slurring. I don't know.
I don't hear that.
I don't know. I can only do what I can do. But I do know I have different equipment today because of the snow.
But you know what? But folks, let's remember, he's snowed in, and yet he's still doing the show. That's a profession.
I'm still doing the show, no matter what you guys say. I'm going to continue to broadcast this show.
Vinny would have been still playing with the orchestra as the ship was going down of the Titanic. Okay, he would have said, "Guys, we have to keep playing." All right, that's the kind of dedication you get with Vinny Politan. Thank you.
Yep, Frankie Figs, not the old chop busters.
Who are you going to call? Chop Busters.
What's a chop anyway? I used to always think it was,
Yeah, they bust your chops. Yeah,
I like a
busting
good chop.
chops.
I like a good chop. Nice veal chop, pork chop.
Do you stop at diners that have signs that say that they have chops? You ever notice that diners have signs that say like
chops,
steaks
and
chops?
seafood?
I'm not a fan of diners.
You don't like diners?
Unless it's 3 a.m. and I'm in a state that I need to have some form of sustenance.
Well,
No,
But
I
I
if
mean,
would.
you
it's not a
lived
big
here
fan.
and you didn't have diners, you would miss them.
I know you're right. I mean, believe me, it's nice to know there's a place you can go, for and I get the monkfish. So there's a place you can go to get the monkfish at 3:43 in the morning. I always ask it, is this fresh? And they're
It's
like,
just
sure.
fresh. Well, the
Because
key to the
everybody's getting the monkfish, so that there's always going to be that constant bringing in the new monkfish. But
April Diaz, Waffle House for the win.
Waffle House, let me tell you, okay. Also, not necessarily a fan. My daughter absolutely loves it. Every time we see a Waffle House, we have to stop.
I'm not a
So,
fan of
So
the chain.
Peppermint with a
I'm not a
great
fan of the
question here.
chains.
Would y'all explain how y'all know one another?
well,
Well,
it's a website called Grinder, and what? Oh, I'm sorry. I wasn't supposed
Stop.
to say that, right? I'm sorry.
Stop.
I sold Al a dime bag in the bathroom at Aldo's when he was performing one night, and we became fast friends.
That's right. And it was
Pork
turned out
chops and applesauce.
Vinny and I go way back to Bergen County law days, and when Vinny was on Channel 10 news, then he had a show that we did called Bergen County Justice, and Vinny was a prosecutor in Bergen County where I principally practice, and I knew Vinny's father. And so we went on that. Then Vinny was kind enough to bring me over to Court TV when he went to Court TV, and then that's how I got to meet Jonesy. And then we had a show called Court TV Radio, which called Me and Vinny, and they were kind enough to bring me on board on that. And it's been a love affair ever since. And we
I
all,
was
we all like the Mets.
I was hired by Court TV 18 months into its run, like 18 months after it debuted, and I was there for like 15 years. And Vinnie Politan came along and changed Court TV and our lives, and we have remained friends ever since.
And we,
Yep.
we have, some common bonds. We all sort of grew up living the same life, but in different places
I
and
worked
have
in
this
West Orange, Vinny's
hometown.
hometown.
Yeah.
07052. I worked at the House of Music recording studio there on Pleasant Valley Way.
Were you there for the mix of Caribbean Queen?
I was not, but I was hired during Cool and the Gang's run when had the Emergency album. They had like 3 hits from that, and they were constantly using the studio for remixes and stuff because they just were all over the charts, and they needed extra help. So it was about 1985, 86 maybe when I started working at the House of Music. World class studio. Worked with a lot of great talent. Learned lessons that I use to this very day. For example, when you meet a celebrity, be respectful. Don't go up to them and like hassle them. Don't tell them like I want you to hear my songs. Just be professional about it. Learned a lot of great things there.
Yeah, she dashed by me in painted on jeans, and all
What?
heads turned because she was the dream. In the blink of an eye, I knew her number and her name. She said
It
I
was
was the
eight six
tiger
seven five three zero
she
nine.
wanted to tame. I was in search of a good time, just running my game. Love was the furthest from my mind.
That, ladies and gentlemen, was under Vinny's graduation picture from high school.
I never knew the lyrics to Caribbean Queen before.
Yeah. Well, by the way, Alicia, genuine concern about your sugar. No chops busting here.
Billy
No need to
Ocean.
worry. Can you see that? Can you see that?
Mm-mm.
Oh, let me
I
see
see
if
a
I can.
device.
I
Can you
I
see
see
the
a
number?
reflection.
103, baby.
Could you put your bank information up there too, please?
No, 103. 103. Blood sugar's perfect.
Actually,
So
it's 1:30.
I did not have Billy Ocean under my high school thing because I graduated before that. I had Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Oh, oh God. Oh.
What?
What did you have?
Which one?
Do you remember?
No, no.
Earth, Wind, and Fire. Which what quote was from Earth, Wind, and Fire?
I'm going to this song right now. I'm gonna get the lyrics. Okay. Let me get the lyrics. Lyrics. I'm going to start with the lyrics and you try to guess the song, okay?
Oh, okay. Oh, this is good. Name that tune.
Yeah.
I can name that tune in 7 notes.
Okay.
Jonesy,
Why
can
do
you
you
do that?
hang your head?
I can name that tune in one note.
Name that
As
tune.
soon as you can name this song, name it, okay? Just blurt it out. Why do you hang your head
Okay.
and never satisfy the loneliness you tread, spending your life in the falling rain? Forget about the memories that's driving you insane. You can't hide forever.
Brick
Just
House.
no, it's Earth, Wind, and Fire.
I
Just
know.
The
decide
Way
to
of the
make it
World?
better.
The
No.
Way of the World?
Now we're getting to my quote, which is the name of the song. Turn it into something good. Remember, you can choose not to lose. Find your groove and be a winner.
Wait a minute. Let's see. Hold on.
It's called Turn It Into Something Good.
Bohemian Rhapsody.
Oh,
I did see Earth, Wind, and Fire in concert, by the way.
you saw them?
Yeah, I did. And
I
was,
saw them
it was
after they
great.
broke up. I just saw a Wind and Fire.
Well, actually, one of them died, right?
Yeah, one of them died.
Yeah, Maurice, and then the
Maurice
lead
White,
singer
right?
left.
Maurice White.
Yeah.
Maurice left. Yeah, Maurice
Philip
passed
Bailey
away.
was one of them, I
Philip Bailey
believe.
had left and then came back.
Yeah, he had
Philip
some
Bailey
solo
ended up having
work.
a halfway decent solo career.
He did.
Yeah.
Philip
He
Bailey.
did the duet with what's his face?
Phil Collins.
Yes.
No.
What song did they do?
But Easy Lover.
Yes.
Very
Wow.
good.
Correct for 50 points.
Thank
All
you.
right. Do you want to risk it?
Yes.
Let's get to some more comments before we run out of time today, because I have to eat. Let's see. People were guessing, and no one got it because it's sort of a random song, right? You guys don't really know that one.
No.
It was
I
a
saw
bit of
them.
a
I did see
ballad.
them in concert, but I would never have known that song.
The lyrics touched me. All right, Sarah with a super sticker. Let's say thank you, Sarah, with the
Thank
super
you,
sticker.
Sarah.
I'm wondering what country she's from. SEK. What countries is SEK from?
SEK.
I'm not familiar with that denomination. What is that?
I do not know.
Is that the European thing?
I don't think that's a maybe.
No, that's not that.
My guess is, and this is just a wild guess because they speak English, right?
Right.
I'm going to say, what's that country near
Swedish krona.
Australia?
It's a krona.
Oh, it's Swedish?
From Sweden.
Wow. Oh, great to have Sarah aboard. Thank you so much. I mean, it's nighttime there.
The land of the midnight sun.
Yep.
Sweden.
Thank you to June. Thank you for watching.
It's it. Dealing a lot with Sweden.
Gringa's got one for you, Jonesy. I bet Jonesy knows these lyrics. Take me to the room where the red's all red. Take me out of my head is what I said.
Geez, offhand, I don't.
Wait. Take me to the room where the red's all dead.
Take me out of my head is what I said.
Dun, dun, dun. It's Fleetwood Mac. Don't tell me the way I'm in. Don't ask me what I think of you. I would not give it that to want me to. Oh well.
Is it Oh Well? Who does that?
Originally done by Fleetwood Mac.
Fleetwood Mac. Look at that.
Yes, saw them in concert too. I was forced to go.
Outdoorsy RN, thank you for sharing your brilliant mind and the Christmas as party prize. Vinny's original hoodie is a keeper and very comfortable. Outdoorsy RN with a Vinny Originale hoodie. Fantastic.
That's
April
very nice.
Diaz with a parting gift. Thank you, April Diaz.
Thank you, April.
Hope all you have a great weekend. Let's bottom line the sheriff right now.
Okay,
So,
bottom line on the sheriff, it's gonna be a mental defect argument on it.
well, let me ask you this though: does he have a chance?
No.
You don't think so?
No.
With a combination of a mental defect and subliminally dirtying up the victim, you don't think so?
No, not at all.
All right.
Not at all.
Jonesy?
No, I don't think so. I mean, like the bottom line is you took out a judge, right? Allegedly. So I don't think so. But I do, back to the jury nullification thing. I do think jury nullification is something that happens naturally amongst the jury. So, it's not required, for the defense to like say that. It's just to make the guy sympathetic, but I don't see it happening.
And
I have to go back on that song lyrics now. Now I'm starting to think it might be Dragon Attack by Queen.
Really?
I'm torn between two lovers.
Who asked the question? Because you've got to post the answer now.
Torn between
Wait,
two
Gringa
lovers.
is saying it's my favorite Queen song, Dragon Attack.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
I corrected myself. Was it within time? Let's ask the judges.
All right.
Well, torn between two lovers is a whole different genre, but that was interesting that came to mind.
Well, I was just saying.
Feeling like a fool.
Feeling like a fool. Loving both of you is breaking all the rules.
And if I'm not mistaken, okay, that was written by an individual who just recently passed away by the name of Peter Yarrow from Peter, Paul, and Mary. Yes.
Yes.
Ashley Bouchard had a little bit of an emergency, but everything's
Maureen
okay.
McGovern was the one who sang it. I'm sorry, Vin. What were you saying?
Ashley Bouchard, one of the mods, had an emergency, is in late, but everyone's okay. Thank goodness. That's good to hear.
All right. Thank you.
Hey, Ashley. I don't think it was Maureen McGovern. I want to say Tanya Tucker, but I'm probably wrong on that.
Look at this. Lindsay Gandy, can we get Tangenista merch?
See?
Hey.
You know what? I like the Tangenista, but you know what, Vin? I have to say this. I like it.
Well, who's going to design it? Who's going to design it?
I'll work on that. I will work on the Tangenista design for you. Okay.
Sure?
Viva la Tangenistas.
All right. Al's working on
But here's my question. Here's my question. I'm going to throw this out to the audience. Okay. I had originally made it as tangent, and then Easter. And then when we did it on the Christmas show, it was without the T. So it was Tangent Easter. I think it goes Tangent Easter. And I'm going to say, Vin, could you set up a little
a poll on that? If
poll
it
on that.
Tangent Easters or
is it Tangent Easter or Tangent Easter? I think
I'm
it's
voting for
Tangent
Tangent
Easter.
Easter.
Tangent Easter.
Is Lindsay asking for specifically for Tangenista merch, or is she using that term to describe tangent merch? Because there is tangent merch.
No, I think maybe specific Tangenista merch for the
Viva la
Tangenistas.
I will come up with a design, Vin, on that. I will go to my resources and put something together.
All right. Get me the design. We'll get it up into the Vinny Originale True Crime merch store.
Excellent.
And that will be an Al Originale.
Oh, Original.
An original.
Original A. That's how that works. See, because it can't be phenomenal without Al.
I'm dying over here. Gen X is thinking we should do a poll. Let me put a poll up right now. So this is Tangentista versus Tangenista.
That's correct.
All right, I'm going to put a poll up in the YouTube. 1 second. It's going to take me just a moment. Please stand by. Operator standing by. All right. By the way, Ice-T ended up winning in our last poll after we got over 1,200 votes, 55 to 45 over the deputy.
Oh.
How about
Although
that?
I got to tell you, the comments were very much against Ice-T in a lot of respects. So I don't know who the hell voted. Harumph.
Still going with that one.
No,
Which is better? And option 1 will be Tangent Easter or Tangenista.
Yes. Tangentista was my original.
See, now to me,
I'll tell you what, though, I kind of like the other one better.
You like it without the T?
Tangenista sounds better to me, but it's a bastardization of tangent. Tangentista, that we retain our tangents.
Or
You
identity.
retain the whole tangent.
That's right.
Right.
All right.
But isn't the
So
whole point of putting two things together to a little bit of one, a little bit of the other?
I
Like,
don't know.
what was it? Ben Lowe? What was Ben Affleck?
you mean a Benifer?
Benifer or Jen Flack? I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a
Well,
Benifer.
let's see if either one of these gets more votes than Ice-T.
I'm not going to give my opinion then, because every time I do, I get to be the short end of the stick.
Yeah.
Although I am seeing people going with the T, the Tangenista.
All right, that may win. It may very well. I think they're both good though. That's all I'm saying.
Thank you.
All right.
And so whatchamacallit? Oh, I see a nice comment here. So Vinny's not going to put it up there from she Jukester. I love history, Al. You're awesome. Well, now, thank you.
Yeah. Well, I'm with all the current ones right now. I've scrolled past a whole bunch, so we didn't fall too far behind today. So I just missed that one, but anyhow. All right.
Yeah, what a surprise that one went right by you there.
I'm in a foreign place here. So I hope everyone is warm wherever they are. That's on the East Coast. On the West Coast, I hope you're safe. Again, devastation out in California. I mean, that's it's unreal. And obviously, people focus a lot on the multi-million-dollar homes that are burnt down, but there are other neighborhoods with regular folks that have been decimated as well. So
fire does not discriminate, which
no,
is
it does
the
not.
true
It does
tragedy. And
not.
anyone who's gone through a fire, which I did with my mom's house, and what you lose is just, it's irreplaceable. And it's a horrific thing to put people through. But the ramifications of this is going to be felt right across this entire country, because the insurance issue is going to be unbelievable. And to rebuild means that all of us are going to be looking at increases in our insurance rates and everything else, because of the fact that, I mean, who in their right mind could have predicted this much devastation in a
I'll
fire?
tell you who could have. One of the insurance companies that dropped 75% of the people in that area.
Well, that's an interesting point. That's a very interesting point.
They
And
knew
how
it. They
much
knew
that
it was there, and
Terrific.
that is problematic. That is very problematic. I
It
was just scrolling here just to look for something, but I'm not seeing it. All right. Yeah, the poll is on the community tab. So you go to the community tab on the channel, and you can vote on the poll. I'll take a look at some very early results. Okay, these are very early results.
very early.
So far, Tangenista is beating Tangentista.
What did I tell you?
We've only got a handful of votes. We got, we're not even triple digits
All
yet.
right.
So
No.
the polls will stay open until the next Tangent podcast.
Well, then this way here, I will be doing two designs for the Viva La Tangenistas.
Oh, that's right. You're gonna have to.
Yeah, I need one or the other.
Yeah, you're gonna have to do two.
I'll do two.
One with a T, one without a T.
We'll do one for right-handed people and one for left-handed people.
All right.
Like a
So I've got to
refrigerator.
get ready to start putting together things here for. What time is it? It's 1:45. Yeah, I've got to roll. Thank you everyone for watching. Let me put us up here. So Al, where can folks find you? Well,
I will be back. We're back on the saddle again on Closing Arguments every Monday night with me and Vinny on 8 to 9. And we had a great show last week because Darnell wasn't there, and then he showed up at the last 3 minutes. So, notwithstanding same, we can only hope that happens again this week.
He was traveling abroad.
Oh yeah, exactly. Traveling as abroad.
Jonesy.
I will be appearing in Atlantic City at the Hard Rock on February 24th. I have tickets to see Rod Stewart.
Oh, well, that's exciting.
Nice. February 24th. Is that a weekend?
No, I think it's during the week.
Stole it from Uncle Floyd.
Oh,
Well, I don't. If I got the date correctly, it is a Saturday night.
Saturday
Oh, wow.
night, Rod Stewart. Fantastic. So that's it, folks. Again, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe and like and follow and share. You can check out the merch store, of course. And that's it for the Tangent Podcast this week. Thanks again to our great mod squad. Say goodnight, Jonesy.
Good night, Jonesy.
Good night, everyone. Good night. Thank you for all your support. We are the Tangent True Crime Podcast. We'll see all of you in court. Somebody say tangent. Tangent. Somebody say podcast. Podcast. Tangent, tangent, podcast, podcast. This is the Tangent Podcast. Good night, everyone, good night. Thank you for all your support. We are the Tangent True Crime Podcast. We'll see you all